Here, come look over here until you see. Um, See if you can just keep scrolling until you see the Josephine Baker piece. Just you got to go somewhere else in case it makes noise. It's from Jill Danger. Hello, Louisville. Guess who's coming to dinner? Well, happy Friday. Thank God it's Friday. TGIF. Okay, once again, it's Women's Her Story Month. I had a guest that was coming. Don't know what happened. But the show must go on. I can't get caught up in a lurch. I just keep it moving because that's kind of what I do. Talking about Women's History Month, her story. There are so many women that need to be highlighted in this month, and I've got women here in Louisville, Kentucky that are doing wonderful things in our community, making changes happen. We've highlighted some of them come upcoming shows. I'll be having Miss Betty Baye. So I'll just be really giving you a rundown of who's going to be on Guess Who's Coming to Dinner every Monday and Friday for the rest of this month. I'm gonna start from the bottom and work up. Betty Baye, Judge Denise Brown, the new owner of today's magazine, Miss Tawana Bain, and the fabulous Miss Diane Porter. She's going to be coming on to join us and talk to us about what's going on with JCPS before March 17th, I guess, when the kids go back to school. Some other ladies that I've invited Miss Ruby Brown. Miss Ruby, Ruby Brown. I know you, Ruby Brown. Hey, what's up? Ruby Hyde. Um, I've also invited Miss Sadiqa Reynolds. But those haven't been confirmed yet. So we're just going to keep it moving and try to get folks on that you want to hear from and that have some things to tell us about the things that they're doing in the community. I'm still trying to do my part here at Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, which is supposed to be a conversation about racism and racist policies. In the last few days in the news, we've seen where things that are going on. We had the caravan up to Frankfurt so that the Brianna's Law could be heard on the floor of the state assembly. That Representative Attica Scott did a wonderful job in getting support out to go to the Capitol and see if we couldn't fight for that bill, Brianna's Law, to be heard. Not a watered down version, but the version that she put together that's needed in the city, in the state, the no-knock laws. No one should fear someone just invading their privacy or coming into their home, guns drawn, and end up being murdered. It's the best way I can say it was murder. Okay. I think the main part of the law should be there should be no more qualified immunity. That means just because you're a police officer, you've got the right to take someone else's life because you say that your life is threatened, or you say that someone is reaching for your gun, because these are just code words. They're just code words, and they've been using them and using them against us, which is really despicable. Best way to put it, despicable. Um, the other thing I wanted to talk about was the young man, the boyfriend of Breonna Taylor, Kenneth, that the charges against him hopefully will all be totally dismissed, not halfway dismissed with some prejudice, but totally dismissed. Young man sitting in his house, and somebody just starts coming in. Well, you've got the right to defend your home. Or do we have the right to defend our home? Do black folks have a right to defend their home? I thought we should have. Um, that made it seem like we didn't really, and that we could be held liable. I mean, and this is a man that shot one time. He didn't do a barrage of gunfire. He shot one time. And then, as we know, there's no more Breonna Taylor. Some of the other things we're looking at, I'm just going to go over the news. I'm not Joy Reid, and I'm not, what's my girl's name that I like? Soledad. But I can bring you up to date in Louisville, Kentucky, as far as the black community. I saw that there was a group that had a meeting last night, had a Zoom meeting with the mayor down at King Solomon. I guess they've got some things going on, which brings me back to the point about if you saw the show on Monday evening, Soul of the Nation. And the young lady from Evanston, Indiana, her name is Robin Simmons. Robin's mother and myself are girlfriends. I met Robin's mother while living in Las Vegas, and Robin was a teenager. And I was very proud to see her on the show. And I have family and friends that live in Chicago, and we just need to kind of look into all of what that reparations bill looks like. Well, that looks like the first one that anybody has gotten anywhere close to getting any kind of legislature passed in order to get some type of reparations. But I think we need to just look a little bit further, because then I made a phone call to Chicago and trying to find out more about what that bill was about. And that $25,000 came with some stipulations. Came with some stipulations about what they wanted you to do with your reparations. So I know I heard part of the comments last night that I guess Louisville is looking to maybe find a model where our city could look into reparations for Louisvillians. But we want reparations. We want full, undeniable reparations. We don't want reparations that have stipulations. Reparations saying that this is your money, but this is where you have to spend it. That is not a reparation. That is not a reparation. So I think we just need to look into what all is in that bill if we're looking to maybe model it. I think Louisvillians can actually draw up their own bill or do their own initiative for reparations, because we got plenty of smart folks in this city that knows what this city needs. We've already dealt with redlining and things of that nature and urban removal. I say removal because that's what my mama called it. And that's exactly what it was. And where it has us today, that today we're still kind of fighting the same beast that we've been fighting since I was a teenager. And that's sad. That's really sad. I was hoping my guests would show up. But anyway, some of the other women that I've been looking over their history this week, and I'm going to talk about some women that have had influence on my life. Naturally, I ended up Monday talking about the main woman that had influence on my life, and that was Miss Emily Covington, my mother. The other woman that had influence on my life is none other than Anita Moore Neal. Now, Miss Anita Moore Neal was all that. She was a dance instructor, a gorgeous dancer, strong, firm, loved her girls, go to bat for us, but wanted us to be more, wanted us to be the best, wanted us to be better than. And were it not for Anita Moore Neal, maybe I wouldn't be who I am today. I think I took about 10 years of tap, toe, ballet, modern. I took dance lessons from Miss Neal. Before she was Miss Neal, she was Anita Moore. And that was down at the Y on 43rd and Broadway. And I know that building is something else now, but that building used to be the YMCA. And was it YMCA or YWCA? Okay, it was a Y. And that's where you had all the canteen where the teenagers went to have dances. But Miss Anita Moore, she kept us in line. She kept us on walking the straight and narrow, where she put fear into us because we all wanted her approval. And I'm sure if anyone that's watching this, maybe your children or grandchildren are Lanita Rockettes to this day, or came up under her tutelage, that she was a staple in our community for young women. It was like to go get your education, to not be hot-tailing after the little boys, to not cut school, to get good grades. Okay? These were the things that she pushed. Your education, your character, how you carried yourself as a young woman. She taught us how to be respectful of ourselves, of our families. You don't want to do anything to disgrace your family. So that had a lot to do with your mouth, all them 4-letter words and curse words coming out of your mouth, because I know I had friends that cursed like a sailor. And I'm not saying that I didn't know how and that I didn't. But I'm saying as far as knowing when to and when not to, naturally you do things when grown folks are not around. But if it was watching your mouth, when kids are around each other, they have feel a freedom to say what they want to say. But we still knew about respecting our elders, to giving props where props are due to our elders, to help them to open doors, to yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir, to do all those types of things. She taught us all those things. And we loved her. We just absolutely loved her. And I'm sure all of the kids that came up under her feel the same way about Anita Moore Neal. She's no longer with us, but she'll always be in our hearts and always be a true representative for young girls in the city that had any opportunity to take classes. She taught out to Park Hill for, I guess, the longest period of time for under Parks and Recreation that she was at Park Hill. And then she moved down to Christ the King. And when I came home, I went over there to surprise her one day. And she felt really good about introducing me to her students. And I was very proud and honored that she was proud of me. Okay, so that's another one of our highlights for the day, Anita Moore Neal. I'll be putting up some posts. I'm going to post Miss Neal because she was a very heavy influence in my life. Okay, so from what I got from Miss Anita Moore Neal, I took that and I went across the pond. I went across the pond to Gay Patty, whereas my next person that had some influence on my life, and this is, I haven't mentioned Nancy yet. I have to go back and get Nancy. Well, I'll do Nancy first. Nancy Wilson.
If you're a singer, songwriter, or musician and you're trying...
merciful. Here. Thank you. Nancy Wilson. Nancy Wilson is the very first jazz singer that caught my attention. My stepfather was a jazz enthusiast, and this was during the time of Motown. I knew all the Motown hits. I knew all the Marvelette songs. Beechwood 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. I knew all the Supreme songs. Where did our love go? Baby, baby. And then he said, have you ever heard of Ella Fitzgerald? I said, no, sir. And he said, you don't know nothing? See, you don't know nothing about music. And so one day when I came home from school, I decided to go through his jazz albums, trying to find somebody whose voice spoke to me. And that's when I found a Nancy Wilson album, and she was singing Don't Rain on My Parade. Well, from that point on, I was hooked. I watched a couple of clips last night of them celebrating her 50 years in show business and all of the awards that she'd been given from the NAACP Image Awards and things of that nature. And I was actually had the opportunity to meet her when I lived in New York, and she was playing at the Blue Note. And I went alone. I just bought me a ticket. I went inside. I sat up front, and I was in seventh heaven because I got to hear Nancy Wilson up live and personal. And when that show was over, I just sashayed back to the dressing room. All I did was follow the musicians because I knew where they were going. So if they were going to her dressing room, so was I. And I just kind of walked in her dressing room behind them. I said, Miss Wilson, my name is Janice Carter. I said, and I'm so sorry, but I just had to meet you. And I didn't want anybody to tell me that I couldn't come in and I can't meet you and so on and so forth. She says, no, darling. She says, come on in, have a seat. I didn't tell her, I told her that I was a singer, and that's why I was living in New York. And but that her spirit resonated with me. Actually, I think a lot of my phrasing, I got a little Nancy Wilson flavor in my phrasing when I sing jazz, when I sing period. So Nancy Wilson, and we lost Miss Wilson about a couple of years ago. Well, 2-3 years ago. And just like we lost the fabulous Lena Horne. Actually, in one of my Las Vegas shows, I did a whole show around Lena Horne because I had seen her one-woman show on Broadway. I was afforded that opportunity. A wedding party. My cousin got married in New York, and he took all of his relatives to see Lena Horne. And it was fabulous, and she was fabulous. She was a very independent, not a whole lot of frills, even though she was exposed from movies and theater and plays to doing this one woman show on her own. But she used to walk through airports unaccompanied by herself in a trench coat and her glasses on. I mean, I know because I saw her and hollered at her. What's up, Miss Owen? But she was moving and grooving, and I didn't want to impose. So those are two of the women in the performing arts, two women in show business that have had stellar careers that had an impact on my life. And the last one is Miss Josephine Baker. Josephine Baker and I have a lot in common. But I'll tell you that another time. But I just wanted to maybe share some of these stories about some of these other women that I want to celebrate this month. Maybe if you've got some. Wait a minute. I can't go any further. If I don't say something, I mean something, about Miss Billie Holiday and Miss Andra Day. Huh. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Andra Day was all that in her portrayal of Billie Holiday. Billie Holiday was all that in her fight, just stick to itiveness in singing Strange Fruit. That was powerful. That you would be so threatening in a performance of a song that was about the truth, about that strange fruit that was hanging from the tree, down in the South. Those bodies hung, lynched. I was afforded the opportunity to be featured as Billie Holiday in Mama I Want to Sing when I lived in New York. But I just want to do a shout out to Miss Andra Day and to Lee Daniels. It was a fabulous film. It was you almost felt like that she was really Billie. She just she took on her whole essence of her being, and that's a task, because Billie was bigger than life. All the ladies that I've mentioned today were all bigger than life itself. I hope you've enjoyed my reminiscing with my Women's Her Story Month. And I should see you back here on Monday. And next week we'll be running 4 more series of interviews from women that have been on the show previously. We'll be running civil rights icon Miss Maddie Jones. We'll be running Councilwoman Paula McCraney. We'll be running activist Rhonda Mathis. And the 4th person we'll be running is, I can always remember 3 and not 4. Okay, so I've got one more person that I know I'll be running there. Oh, Dr. James Etta Ferguson. So, Rob. So, stay tuned. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week. You're going to see those 4 ladies' interviews running 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 7 o'clock, all next week. So until then, stay safe. Have a good weekend. Stay masked up. Get your appointment for your COVID shot. And on that note, I say, guess who's coming to dinner? Bon appetit.